Hi everyone and welcome back to the magnificent map of map making. So, in front of me are all the units that use weapons along the lines of what I will be teaching you today. So, we're making a weapon that has no projectiles. So, attacks like the anti-ground attack for the 4, the siege tank while sieged and unsieged, Vikings assault mobile weapon, the marine weapon, so the Reaper weapon, melee kind of counts as this, so that works too. For the SCV, Ghost Rifle, the Spectre Rifle, Tyran, or the Crazy Marine, and the Goliath's anti-ground attack, and not to mention the same type of weapon that the Planetary will use. So these are all non-projectile weapons, which basically means weapons that you cannot see the projectile of, so like our Mad Marine weapon. So I believe today we will be making the Mad Cannon, and that will be a custom weapon for the Mad Marine. So very quickly, the weapons like the ones I've just explained, so non-projectile from those units over there, consist of 3 parts. So that is the actual weapon, the weapon effect, and the weapon's actor. So, to the data editor. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go along making each part. We then link them up, and then we go along editing each part to make it into a brand new weapon. So it's kind of the same technique as when we made a new unit. Once this loads quickly, yeah. So we're going to go into weapon first, and we're going to add a weapon, and this will be the Mad Cannon. Go suggest, and we're going to copy this from Marine Rifle, which is that, Mad Cannon. Then we're going to go into actors. Come on, a bit quicker please. Oh, we're not responding. And I've got like phone signal beeping in my ear. Strange. Right, add actor. Now this is slightly different to normal because this is... Oh, actually I believe this may stay as an action. So I'm just going to put Mad Cannon actor. Copy from... Marine. Oh, sorry, no. Sorry, this effect. Sorry, do apologise. Is a damage effect, I believe, or is it weapon? Oh, I'm really confused now. Oh, I did practice this. I actually. I'm being a bit daft. Oh, E for effect. Really sorry. Let's have a quick look for Marine. Marine attack. It's an action apparently. Silly me. Do apologise. So yeah, we're going to create an actor that is an action, and that can be Mad Cannon actor. No, effect. No, we're in actors. Sorry, I'm getting a bit mixed up now. It's because this is the 3rd time I've recorded this because the recording keeps failing. So my mind is turning to mush. I'm trying to do the same thing over and over again. So it's an action, which we are on, and it is Marine attack that we're copying. And I'm just going to put act on the end of that so I can tell everything apart. Okay. And quickly, while we're here in the newly created actor, we're going to change its target to the weapon we created. So, oh no, we attach it to the effect. So let's go and make the effect first, and then we head back to the actor. Add effect. So as you saw, now this is where I was getting confused. This is a damage. I was getting the effect and the actor mixed up. So Mad Cannon, and then I'm going to kind of format it like the rest of the editor does it. And then this is Marine Rifle damage. Okay. So as soon as we're here, we've just got to remember to attach the actor to this. And we're going to start here. So someone asked me about making weapons more effective against certain attributes that are on units like light, biological, heroic, stuff like that. And then very simply, I'm going to first just put our damage to 10. And then we're going to mess around with this. So attribute factor is exactly what you want if you want to do it by percentages. So as an example, I've set the damage to 10. So if I put 1.1 in here, this basically means 10% more. So that means we'll be hitting 11 damage onto structures. This is really good if your combat amount is modified by upgrades as the game goes on. So you can continuously have a higher bonus against attributes, like structure, robotic and all that. So example, if we were to add another 10 damage via an upgrade, after the upgrade we'd be hitting 22 damage against structures because that's still a 10% increase. So that's really good for that. If we're going, if I get rid of this, if we're going for flat out bonuses, so like we strictly decide what the bonuses are, we can say light, if we put 5 in here, this is an additional 5, so we'll be hitting 5 damage extra. So we'll be hitting 10 damage to everything that isn't light, and 15 damage to anything that is light. Now if we can actually use minuses here, so say this weapon's effective against light, so it's not going to do as much damage versus structures. We'll now be hitting 8 on structures and hitting 15 on light. So that's pretty cool. So for structures I'm going to put 190 in there, so it's 200 damage to structures. Light, stuff like the Zerglings, Marines, Medics, and certain aircraft are also classed as light. There. I think Zealots are also light, or Zealots, sorry. But yeah, so that's how you do that. Very good. Some interesting stuff like killing hallucinations. So obviously, you know, if you've ever been playing Desert Strike, I think definitely the HOTS version, hallucinations are so annoying if you're against Protoss because they just summon Archons, and these fake Archons still theoretically take, I think it's something like 175 damage before they disappear, which is a lot of shots. And you know, and that's stuff that you're not killing real units with. So you can have this weapon so it instantly kills hallucinations. Pardon me, but hallucinations take, I believe, double or triple damage anyway. Okay, so you've got stuff here like lifesteal. You can decide certain things about splash damage here, but I do believe we'd have to add an additional actor. But I'll do another tutorial where weapons get a bit more in depth, and we do stuff like splash damage. Because you can do that via factors. So you can say like percent, like you can say like the edge of the explosion takes 10%, the center of the explosion takes 100%. You know, the bit after that takes 50%. Or you can easily say, you know, the center of the explosion has 10 damage, the edge of the explosion has 5 damage, stuff like that. Response flags, always, especially if you're making kind of an edited melee map, you want acquire or flee. This is the AI response to getting attacked. So if you have nothing here, if a unit's shot by this weapon, it won't react. So you know how, say, Marauders, Marines and stuff, if you've got a stealthed ghost and you shoot one and they can't see it or attack it, they'll automatically just run in the opposite direction in a bid to, you know, escape. Or if that unit is visible, say a siege tank is kind of nearish and it fires on a group, they'll charge at it, which, you know, is good and bad. You know, that's how we all, you know, in Ladder, like try and lure a few lings out with Hellions and stuff like that, lure things into your defences while the other player isn't monitoring their units. If you're kind of making weapons for a PvE map and all your units have scripted commands, then emptying this is actually a good idea, and that's actually what I do, or what I will be doing on certain units on the SCV team, just so they actually don't react to being attacked. So I want, you know, stuff to smash down wall and stuff instead of being able to be mazed, because a few units in the SCV team can actually be mazed. Sorry. Notification, that's just telling the player, like the ping that units are under attack. This is kind of old but necessary. You've got melee, range, spell and splash, and that links to how the weapons can be buffed via behaviours. So that's a bit more in depth as well. But that is the basic. And one very important thing, sorry, is armor reduction. So for every point of armor reduction, one piece of armor removes 1 damage from this weapon. So say if I was to change this to 5 and an enemy had 1 armor and we hit them with this weapon, you'd only do 5 damage. So keeping this at 1 is, you know, how everyone understands armor to work, so it's probably a good idea. Right, so that's the effect. So now we're going to go and link everything together. And then we go on to the fun bit, which is making everything look awesome and sound awesome. Yeah, this also links into another comment. Someone was saying about how their weapon wasn't making sound. This is all down to your actor, or the fact that yours wasn't making sound, your lack of an actor. So we're now going to attach this to our mad cannon damage. So mad cannon damage. Okay, so while we're in the actor, stuff like I'm not too sure about a few bits, so I'll go through what I do understand. There is no missile. I believe this is kind of generic. So if you ever, yeah, it's it's literally just a piece of text. It isn't anything. Right, things we want to look into are impact map, and I believe it's launch model. So if we go into impact map model, now you'll notice there's a system that was in place here by Blizzard for really detailed weapon effects and weapon damage. So like if a marine was to miss, there'd be like dirt coming up from the ground, or if a bullet was to stray into water, there'd be a splash. You know, hitting shields, maybe the bullets bounced off. Hitting rocks, you know, maybe a bit of rock comes off. But sadly this kind of got dropped, and now everything just uses the none. So like as a miss you could have like a, you know, a special sound that means miss, or you could even have an effect that displays the word missed. All sorts. Possibilities would have been huge. I guess, you know, if they had a few more years on the game, this probably would have all been used, and the game would be like 5 times more detailed. But anyway, they now use the one effect for every type of impact. So we're going to go with some impacts I like. So we're going to go for the Marauder impact. Let me just close this. Actually, sorry. So always need to double check how things are worded. Yeah, so it's Marine Attack Impact. So we want Marauder Attack Impact, because the light orangey explosion that comes off Marauder shots is pretty cool. So Marauder Attack Launch. Nope, we want Base Attack Impact. So that decides what happens when an enemy is hit. So if we were to shoot a Zergling now, instead of the tiny little flash, which is a marine bullet, or, you know, projectile, whatever they shoot, and of course it's rifles, it's now the Marauder explosion. And now for the really cool bit, I was so chuffed when I found this. So we're going to look for launch assets model, and we're going to use the, if I can find it, here we go, planetary fortress attack impact, no, launch. Awesome. We're going to keep the sounds the same, but you get the general gist. If we go into sound, literally you've got a wicked list. Like, you know, we could have the stimpack noise for some reason, or like, you know, the parasites, or a marine saying yes, you know, all sorts. Right, so the last thing to do now is to attach the weapon to the effect, which in turn is connected to the actor. So if we go back to weapon now, as I said, obviously my tutorials are slightly longer. I'll try and explain anything you'd need to know. But you know, once you've done this a few times, you'll be making weapons like this in a few minutes. So, you know, so don't worry, it isn't long-winded. You know, I now can make I think I can even make a projectile weapon now in about 15 minutes, and that's just slightly more complicated because I think projectile weapons have roughly 4 actors, so that can get a bit crazy depending on how detailed the weapon is. So we're now going to go for the mad cannon damage. That is now attached to the weapon, and we also just need to change the display. This is the box that when you click on a unit and you hover over its weapon, the details can actually be of a different weapon. I'm not too sure why. I haven't figured out a way to make dummy weapons so you can actually put in kind of a lie or make it a bit more detailed or less detailed. But we'll look into that. So period is your fire rate. So I'm going to set this to 1.1. So every 1.1 in-game ticks, I think it is, this weapon will happen. But I'm about to change that with, if I can find it, the delay. So this is a feature that's very interesting. Here we go. Where is it? Here it is. So random delay maximum and random delay minimum are really interesting parts of a weapon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the random delay minimum to -1. I'm then going to set the random delay maximum to 1. Now what this means now is because the period is 1.1, go away, the random delay minimum means that on a random occurrence this weapon could actually fire at 0.1 period. So you know that's the highest fire rate in the game. That's ridiculously rapid. No, I don't think there isn't a legitimate unit in the game that has that fire rate. I think the fastest is maybe 0.3 or 0.4, which I believe is the battle cruiser. Now, random delay maximum, as you can imagine, is the opposite. So if you're unlucky, this weapon will be firing at 2.1. Now, just to clarify that these aren't definite, so it could be firing, the delay maximum is the maximum. So the highest is 1, but it could still add 0.1, or it could add 0.2, 0.3, and I believe it goes into about 3 digits. So you could be adding like 0.256 to the fire rate. At the same time, you could always be taking away 0.217 to, you know, or anything like that. So it's in between. So basically this is a really weird and sporadic weapon I'm making. So if 2 units were to meet the same, an unlucky unit could have continuous 2.1 fire rate. You know, the chances of that, by the way, are like crazy, but you know. And then at the same time, the unit it's versing could have 0.1 fire rate, which means that unit is going to take like 2 hits and the enemy will be dead. You know, but so messing with these too much can really upset your players if units don't, you know, perform as well as they should. But obviously if you've kind of got maybe you're doing like an RPG and the one class is like a gambling class and it's all about luck, and all of a sudden you could just whack out 4 shots, but then, you know, in that same time you could also then do 1 shot, you know, stuff like that. So I use this slightly for the sniper turret on the SCV team, but it's only something like 0.5 maximum, 0.5 minimum, just to give it a bit more variety, and so that they're not all your turrets are synchronized firing, so that, you know, there's a bit more alternation between the shots, so that they don't actually waste shots. So it's good and bad. Yeah. So as you can see here, everything's working theoretically. We've got our planetary fortress launch attack. We've got our marauder base attack. We have a bunker attack here because this is based off the marine, and obviously marines can get into bunkers. You can change that. So you could change this to the planetary fortress launch attack, and then when this marine is inside a bunker, that's the effect that will be coming out the bunker's windows. All this act stuff is normal and good. Mad Cannon actor is there, and the Mad Cannon is there. Now, one thing I always forget, I make this weapon, I know what unit it's going on, and I'm very happy with it, and I click test without actually going to the unit and handing it the weapon. So that is exactly what we're going to do now. Oh, combat. What? Am I searching? Yes, I am. Also, remember that I always change to that display, and I've got something in the search, and then windows that you need don't appear because the search still applies to this type of display, which is silly since there's no search bar in this display, but you know, that's how it works. So now, yeah, we go. This is now full of stuff we need. So we want to change from the boring marine rifle to a medium splittling. No, we give that a miss. We shall go for the Mad Cannon. And I'm going to save. And we're going to test. So everything should work. We should be doing, what is it, 200 damage to structures. We should be doing 15 damage to light. Fire rate should be either insane or terrible, with, you know, slight medium variety as well. And that should be about it for this type of weapon. So if you forgot what type of weapon we're making, just go back to the beginning of the video. All the units that I have at the beginning, as I said, use non-projectile based weapons, and it is mostly Terran that do this. I think, you know, Protoss use plenty of beams and projectiles. Zerg are pretty much melee or projectile. You've got some really interesting projectiles on Zerg actually. You've got, you know, the Roach Spit, obviously uses a trail. Which you can actually apply to units, which is quite fun. So you'll know the Infester, as it walks around, leaves that strange goo, and that's kind of the same system that's used on the back of the Roach projectile. And then obviously you've got the Hydralisk, which is a very basic projectile, which is just the needle. Stuff like the Marauder uses quite a basic projectile, and stuff like that. Beams are much more complicated, and we'll get onto them later. But here we go. 2 Mad Marines with the Mad Cannon, 200 damage versus structures, 15 light, 10 damage generally, range 5, weapon speed 1.1. So these two should decimate the Zerglings over here. Let's do it. unlucky. We should see, as you can see, awesome explosions from the planetary effect. And then we've got the, you can't really see it too well, but, oh, they actually got killed. Let's train some more in the marine house. So if we just see, again, structures, boom, 200. And you can also see there the marauder effect. Oh, see, now, there we had an unlucky fire, and then all of a sudden 2 in a row. So that was very cool. Right, so we're going to finish off these zerglings now. That's purely by habit. I see a Terran building on fire, and the first thing I do is start to repair it. That's just that's playing too much ladder as Terran, just panicking when stuff's on fire. Which, believe it, is stuff's on fire more often than I like when I play Terran. Anyway, so I believe that's a success. We're going to do a quick test, which is a Mad Marine versus Mad Marine, just to see how the fire rate can affect a battle. Oh, there we go. So, there we go. So we've had some unlucky shots by the one. Oh, really unlucky for both, actually, on the same. Oh, so he got in first then. 1 HP was remaining. He's regenning now because I put regen on them. But that's how close it was. So we're going to do one more, and then that's the end of this video, folks. Just to see how that affects. So unlucky. He 2 shots from him before. Oh, two here. One there. Oh, another one from there. Very cool. So you know what I could easily do? Set up a game with such a random fire rate. You could have 2 of the same units fight, and then you could place bets on which one's going to win. There you go. That's a good idea. Just off the top of my head, let's kill Jimmy the Creep Tuner in 1 shot, because we do 200 damage to structures, and Creep Tumors are classed as structures. Marine House is going to die. Boom. Maybe kill an automation. But yeah, as you saw, the Marauder effect kicking off there. There you go. You can see it much better on the Marine. Oh, 2 shots there. Very good. So that is the basic of non-projectile weapons. I thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Now, just before I finish, looking at that's just reminded me of something. Air and ground attacks, something that's really odd. When you look into what the flags that a weapon can or cannot attack, if you want it to shoot ground only, you must put ground as a required target. Putting air as excluded does not work. The same if you want an only air attack, air must be required and ground must be allowed. This makes no sense, but it's the way it works. So I hope you understood that quickly. I should have explained that while in the data editor so I could actually show you, but hopefully you get that. So any more questions, feel free. I'm trying to do more videos. I'm just a bit busy at the moment. But I hope that made you a cool weapon. And feel free to tell me of your results. Any more problems, let me know. The next tutorial will be on slightly advanced weapons. I believe I may do one on warping in, which I've started here. Someone wanted to know how to warp in their own units, and I'll be doing that one soon. And I shall see you for the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.